Yo, what's good in the hood, family? It's your boy, One Rocker, One Take Straight Talk. In before the ball drops for 2017, out with 2016 and everything crazy that done happened with it. I want to make one last video for the year. And this time I'm coming in with something that I've already covered one time, but I had someone request that I do this video. So this one is for you and you'll know who it is. Today I'm touching bases on or talking about self-worth. Y'all have heard me speak about it in the past, and it'll be a reiteration of some things that I've already covered. But basically just want to break a couple of things down and cover a couple of topics dealing in self-worth for y'all before the year's out. Okay, so basically our self-worth is textbook our self-esteem, how we feel about ourselves, how we look at ourselves on a day-to-day basis, and the way that we internally process our worth as an individual, as it relates to our life, as it relates to school, to work, to other people, our children, depending on whatever it is, how we view ourselves in the eyes of our own individual self as well as in the eyes of others. This plays an very, very vital and important part of how we exist in this world. Without self-worth, we lose a lot. And with the addition of a high level of self-worth / self-esteem for ourselves, it can allow us to elevate ourselves to a level of living that most people aren't allowed to live, or they'll never be able to experience in their lives because they guard themselves or they limit themselves from what they're able to accomplish in life. So I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to go in phases with it, or sections in it. So I'll cover it like this. First of all, I want to speak to y'all about relationships. And this is not just for women or not just for men. This is across the board. But how we view ourselves individually reflects how we allow others to treat us in our relationships. For the ladies, a lot of times, you have a lot of ladies who are in relationships that are not healthy. They're in relationships that with abusive men, verbally, mentally, physically, psychologically, they're abusive. And a lot of these women find themselves feeling as if they have no way out, no one to run to, and no way to escape from these situations. But what a lot of these young ladies fail to understand is you're the reason that it happens. Your level of or lack of self-worth allows you, first of all, to seek out a person that preys on that. They prey on weak people. And it doesn't mean that you're purposely weak, but a weak mind creates a weak body. And your ability to attract those type of people land you in these type of situations. Manipulative people and controlling people tend to gravitate towards less strong people. People who are easy to follow what others want them to do and fit in and do things just to allow themselves to feel like they're placing themselves in a comfortable place in life. This puts you in a situation where you're faced with having a man who's making the decisions for you and for your life, telling you what you can do, what you can't do, what you can wear, what you can't wear. Now, hear me when I say this. When I'm speaking on these things, they're good men who are caring men who speak on these things too, where you can go, what you can do, who you can be with, what you can wear, because they want you to respect yourself. When you're looking at a lack of self-worth, you're looking at finding yourself in a position where the man doesn't care about what you feel. Even when you're being respectable, they control that aspect of your life. And the lack of being able to escape comes because you have no strength in you to stand up and speak out against it. Therefore, you find yourself accepting it. And a lot of us men look at women who are in situations like that and we want to reach out and help. But as with a lot of situations outside of just the lack of self-love and self-worth, you reach out and you help people in these situations, and then you turn around and a couple of days later, they're back in the same situation because it's mindset. And your level of self-worth will dictate whether you're strong enough to get up and walk away, or whether you're strong enough to get up and pretend to walk away only to return and put yourself back in a situation that you're comfortable with at the time. So now this doesn't just go for women, this also goes for men. There are a lot of men in situations with women who are just as verbally abusive, just as mentally abusive, physically abusive. They utilize them for what their potential is to bring in the household, what they can do for them and not for their worth. They allow a man to help them build their lives up. And then once they've gotten to where they want to be, they look at that man and treat that man as if we don't need you for anything else because you've served your purpose. And you have to be careful, men, to understand just because you're a man doesn't mean you have to take that treatment. Just as a woman doesn't have to take it from a man shouldn't have to take that for a woman. That's choice. And if you choose to do that, then you can't blame your lack of self-worth on anyone else but yourself. So I'll say this. If you're in a relationship, you have to learn how to allow yourself to be who you want to be without that person. You don't need them to accomplish. You don't need them to make your dreams come true. You don't need them to financially be happy. You don't need them to mentally be happy. You don't need them to get ahead in life. You need that for yourself. All you need is to be able to know in your mindset that you're worth what you want in your life. Once you start to plant the seeds mentally that you are not capable of accomplishing without the addition of the other person, you will find that your level of self-esteem would decline. Your level of self-worth would decline. Your level of accomplishments will decline. Your level of blessings in your life will also start to decline. But this is at the occurrence of you. You are the person that is causing this to happen because this is what you're putting out. Life is only going to bring you, for the most part, what you ask it for. And if you're asking for someone to look at you lower in your life as a person as you are, most of the times they're going to do that. If you're looking for life to give you less because you feel like you deserve less, it's going to give you what you ask for. It's not judgmental. It places no one or no thing above any other person or thing. It is going to give you what you ask for. And most of us feel like if it's not given as soon as we ask, then it's not giving. No, it comes when it comes. It doesn't come as soon as we ask for it. Sometimes it is. Most of the time it doesn't. It comes whenever it comes, and you have to be the person that has the worth in your life to know that regardless of how hard it gets, regardless of how low I get in my life, regardless of my trials and my tribulations, that I am still worth greatness. It doesn't matter if you're single. It doesn't matter if you're in a relationship. It doesn't matter if you have money, if you don't have money, if you've lost love, if you lost a loved one, you've lost a child, anything that you've gone through negative in your life, you have the ability by choice to say that I will make it through this. Just as you have the ability by choice to fall to it and say that I can't get through this. That's choice. Now, hear me when I say this. It's not an easy choice to make, but it's still a choice. Life doesn't give us a lot of easy choices. Most of the best things that we accomplish in life and we get and acquire in life come after some of the worst of things happen to us. So we have to understand that if it was easy to obtain, then we would not value it as much as it is if we go through hell to achieve it. Now, I'm looking up because I did make some notes. My second thing I'd like to touch on this is with our children. What are we placing in the minds? What type of seeds are we placing in the mind of our children? What are we saying verbally, and what are we thinking about when we're looking at our children? What level of worth are we setting for our children? How are we allowing them to be with us, and how are we treating them and teaching them to, or training them and teaching them to be with others? This is valuable. When we have children, it is our duty as good parents to teach our children discipline, respect, responsibility, and self-love. We have to teach that. If we don't, we are becoming just as bad as all of the outside elements that we try so hard to protect our children from. We have to teach them how to be responsible. We don't hold the hands of our children their entire lives. There's a period of time when they can't crawl. We carry them. When they can't walk, we allow them to crawl. And sometimes once they get up on their feet and they're allowed to walk, you have to let them run into walls, meet their own resistance in their own lives with the ability to learn how to accomplish and overcome the things. If they can't stand up, let them fall down a couple of times. If they hit the side of the wall or they run into the table, allow them to fall down, cry, and get back up. It makes them tough. It doesn't make them weak. Because once they get old enough to walk and navigate in this life, life will not pick them up. They'll be responsible for doing that. We have to educate them. Because without being educated, we drop our children's level of self-worth down so low that sometimes they can't recover. We have to teach them, regardless of who's on the outside saying that we shouldn't or we're doing it wrong and this is not the way to do it. We have to teach our children that they should be proud to call themselves educated. They should want to know how to speak properly. They should want to know how to spell, to read, to write. They should want to know this. The same way that they aggressively go after learning how to play video games, teach them how to aggressively go after becoming educated. Teach them how to be the creator instead of the person that purchases. This will take them a lot further in life. We have to teach them to be respectable. Respect those around us. Respect ourselves first and foremost. Respect the people who are not around us or who are around them when we're not around. And mirror what they expect to see in other people. Teach them how to give first mentally. Teach them how to do first instead of to accept and want things to come from them. Teach them that in their level of work, they're supposed to not feel like in order to do something good, I have to be rewarded, with the exception of the love and the goodness in my heart that I feel from knowing that I just did something that made me look good or feel good for me. This is self-worth. We are blocking our children from becoming great. We're stopping our men from becoming men by babying them and not allowing them to be responsible like responsible children / young men / adult men are supposed to be. We're stopping our young girls from becoming responsible and respectable young ladies because we're not allowing ourselves to teach them worth when they're little. And we're taking the negative things that they pick up from social media and the negative things that they pick up from television and from radio and from music, and we're saying that it's cute. And we're allowing them to plant the seeds of disrespect, allowing them to be okay with the man disrespecting them, okay with feeling like it's okay to go to a man for money in exchange for sex and feeling like that's what I have to offer. And that's what he has to pay in order to get it. It's not that kind of life. And if you want your child to succeed in life, or to at least have a better chance of succeeding in life, you have to be responsible enough to elevate their level of self-worth. If you don't, you will be part of the reason that they do not exceed and excel in life. Parents, we have to have better self-worth with one another. Doesn't make a difference whether you're a parent with that parent that has that child or whether you and that parent are no longer together. The bashing that we do with each other, the way that we tear each other down behind each other's back to our friends and to our family members and especially to the kids. This shows our level or low lack of self-worth in ourselves. A good parent doesn't have to bash another good parent. A good parent doesn't have to bash a bad parent. That parent only has to allow that child to see with their own eyes what's going on with that other parent. Appreciate that parent for when they're being a good parent. Allow that child to see when that parent is not being a good parent, and navigate them through understanding how to deal with the pain from having a parent that's not being a good parent. So many of us, women and men, tear each other down over financial wants, over what we feel like that person owes us and supposed to do for us as parents. And yet we're unhappy with ourselves. I hear so many women, I don't need a man for nothing. How? You do. I hear so many men saying they don't need a woman for anything but sex. How? You do. Because we are each other's balance. And if we would put the love and respect and self-worth on ourselves initially, and then allow ourselves to extend that to each other. A lot of this BS that we have going on with child support wars and the arguments and bashing and going on social media like I've done and like other people have done, it wouldn't happen. Or it would be so low that it wouldn't even be on the radar. But we are feeding this trash to our children. And we act like our children are too young to understand what we're doing. They see it. We're the ones that are dumb enough to continue to do it and act like these kids don't understand what's going on. They do. They see it. They keep quiet, just like we keep quiet when we want to see and get the most information that we can because someone's acting as if we're stupid enough not to understand. So they talk freely. Children do the exact same thing. They watch and they see how low of a level of self-worth that their fathers and mothers have for each other. Stepdads, stepmoms, you still have to treat that child like that child is your own. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but you still have to do it. You have to look over those that are outside looking in, expecting you to be a certain way and thinking that they know how things are on the inside. As long as you know that your intent for that child is good, and as long as you can stand by knowing that you're equal in the way that you treat that child as the way you would want someone to treat your own and the way you treat your own, you put that level of self-worth out there. You raise anyone else's child that is under your care as if you would raise your own, being a good parent. And you don't sacrifice that or put that to the side for anybody, regardless of how they feel about you. Because at the end of the day, the person who's going to be losing in that is that child. And there's some unworthy people out here who are willing to sacrifice and that child just to fit in with what other people say. Don't do it. It's not worth it. You know your level of self-worth. You know what that child is worth. And if you can see a child needs some guidance, guide them. And sometimes it has to be tough love because some situations call for tougher love than other situations do. You just have to be willing to do it. Whatever comes from it, let it come from it. It won't break you, but let it come from it and keep going forward because that child, just like your own child, will thank you in the long run when they see the change that you've brought to their lives. It's our responsibility. At the end of the day, how you view yourself and the way that you are about your own life, it's your own responsibility. You're responsible for you. It's not my job to come in and make your life better. I can help, I can guide, I can support you, I can be there for you, I can do whatever I can, but at the end of the day, I can extend the olive branch, but it doesn't mean that you're gonna take it and utilize it. You have to be the person that's responsible for how you see you. You notice I'm not talking God and I'm not saying Jesus, and it's not about that. Because the love that God gives us is given to everybody. Some situations make it harder for us to see that in ourselves, but we have to look harder. We have to do more because at the end of the day, it's all about you. I'm going to be happy for me regardless of who's in my life and who's not in my life because that's a decision that I decided to make. You have to make your own choice for yourself. Where do you want to be at in your life? Do you want to be up here? Do you want to be down here? That's a choice. You can't let anybody take your choice away from you because most people aren't going to view you the way that you're supposed to view yourself because we put ourselves first. I put me first. I'm before my kids. I'm before my family. I'm before anybody. But I'm going to extend to the next person as if I want them to be beside me and not below me. So you have to do this for yourselves. Stop taking failure as an option. Stop being jobless and being okay with it and making excuses. Stop staying in bullshit, cheap ass places to live because you feel like you aren't worth living somewhere else. Stop calling, asking for rides because you feel like you're not worth having your own vehicle to get where you want to get at. Stop allowing men and women to beat you down mentally and physically because you don't feel like you're strong enough to stand up and get away from that. Stop being dependent on people who are not worth being dependent upon. If you can't depend on that person, then don't depend on them. Stop allowing your life to come to a standstill because you're waiting on other people to take you to the next step. Stop. You're worth it. If you feel in your heart and in your mind that you're worth greatness, you will achieve greatness. If you don't blame your failures on anybody else because it's nobody's but y'all. This is Rock, One Take Straight Talk. Happy New Year. I wish everybody out there much success, much love. Be safe tonight. Do your do, and I will holler at you in the 1-7. Peace.